So, hello everyone, and I'd like to talk about basically Destiny 2's state of the game now and kind of what needs to be done, at least I think. So, first off, the store. The fact that the store is even accessible in the menu now shows where their focus is. But Eververse has a lot of stuff. Like, it has a lot of stuff in it now. Oh, actually, before I do any of this, I should do that. So, Eververse has a lot of stuff. It really does. It has a lot of shit. I mean, not shit, but it has a lot of good stuff, and it seems to be the focus of the game now. And it's kind of really hurting the game because since Eververse is the focus, there's no reason to really get loot anywhere else. All of it's kind of mediocre or just not really as good as the stuff from Eververse. Even raid loot and stuff looking like it's been moved from the raid and from dungeons and stuff into the Eververse. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of the whole season pass thing. I bought Shadowkeep, and I feel like Shadowkeep just came and left. Like it's not even relevant anymore. Right after Season of Undying finished, Shadowkeep just stopped being relevant. There's no reason to go to the moon to do anything, except for I guess the nightmare hunts, which the mods you get for them are specific to the nightmare hunts. So and no pinnacle gear is kind of pointless anyways. So and they're pretty boring. The nightmare hunts aren't that great. It would have been better if it was like Court of Oryx and you fought all the bosses in one public event type thing. Maybe if you jumped down into the Hellmouth and it was literally like Court of Oryx 2.0. But that's not great. The raid's cool. Raids are always cool in Destiny, so that's fine. And the dungeon's cool. But again, pinnacle gear not that great. The weapons and gear you get from them not that special. Only the exotic, which is a problem all on its own when you talk about drop rates and how hard they are to get and just stuff like that. So that's the whole loot problem and the Eververse problem. My whole problem is their idea of Bungie's idea of replayability. And right now the idea of not missing out and replayable activities is just every season put out one new activity, which is kind of like Menagerie but not as good, and just grind that for some reskin weapons. They had the Saint storyline, which is good. I like it, but like it's just not. It kind of feels like it's missing its soul. The DLCs are kind of missing their soul in terms of progression and loot, and also the story never ties into one another. Like what happened at the end of Shadowkeep doesn't really affect what happened at the end of the Curse of Undying. Doesn't really affect what happened at the end of what happened in this storyline. Pretty much, maybe it does a little bit in the random lore cards and weapon descriptions and whatever that you may never even find or that are only available for a certain time because everything's in the Eververse store now. Like there's so many issues that just compile up that just makes this game a pain in the ass to play now. Not even a pain in the ass, just you want to play it. There's no reason to. Everything you do grind for is going to be useless the next season, and so you're like, what's the point of grinding? And then everything when you feel like, okay, screw it, I will grind, you're like, everything's in the Eververse or the season pass. And the season pass is fine. It's okay. I feel like you could give us bright dust in here, like more than like 100 and 100, 200, whatever. Like you get like no bright dust from this thing. Like there was 100 there, and then 100 here. Oh, that's at the end. You get 200 bright dust. You get 200 Bright Dust the whole season from the season pass. Like, that's nuts. That's insane. And yeah, I haven't been leveling up my season pass or playing that much because what's the point? I don't even care about symmetry. I didn't buy the season pass because what's the point? I'll just buy the season pass when it's an actual good season. And this season's okay, but again, everything's in the Eververse, which means I gotta pay money. And don't get me wrong, I don't mind paying money, but it doesn't seem like we're getting anything. I'm sorry. The story isn't really going anywhere. Just something random happens every 3 months or whatever. Uh, Everything in here costs a shit ton of silver and bright dust and whatever. And even though I bought Shadowkeep, like, nothing is cheaper. I can't grind for things. Like, they just added in the ability to buy an ornament now or whatever, which is nice, but like, I don't know why I can't just grind out the weapon and get the ornament that way for using the weapon for a certain amount of kills or, you know, whatever. Why they took out Eververse bounties is beyond me. Like, I know they gotta make their money on silver because the game is free to play, quote unquote, but it's not free to play. It's free to try out the base game, which doesn't even matter anymore because no one's even really playing the base game anymore. So, like, it's all about the season, the current season. And so yeah, I'll stop ranting about the Eververse and stuff. I just don't like it. I don't like the Eververse. I don't like how it's focused. We need more loot in other things. It's as simple as that. Or we need a way to grind Bright Dust, or we need more things to buy with Bright Dust, or like something needs to be done. And I think their focus is, well, how do we keep people playing? You know, how do we keep people playing? Their idea to do that is by season, the Eververse, and, you know, a new activity. And the problem is their activity, Sundial, Vex Invasion, Vex Offensive, none of them are as good as the Menagerie. Like, really, none of them are as good as the Menagerie. Menagerie was the best one, and if they had just released, or really thought about this and released a Menagerie 2.0 that included all types of enemies, like even the Taken, Cabal, Vex, Fallen, Hive, all of them together, kind of mixed in certain ways, whatever, in a Menagerie style activity, 6-player match made, and you kept rotating the weapon pool, or sorry, not the weapon pool, the gear pool, or gear and weapons, then you could have hit gold. And then on top of that, you have, like, you know, every week the Menagerie kind of changes, and not just in terms of enemies, but in terms of buffs, debuffs, just like the Nightfall modifiers and stuff. And hell, maybe even make it so each week you get a certain high stat roll for gear for doing that activity on, like, the hardest difficulty. Or work that into flashpoints. So, like, right now we have flashpoints on planets, but it's like the only reason you go to and do the flashpoint is to get the powerful drop. Where is he? Oh no, this is here because of Sundial. Which is is it the moon? Oh, I guess this week the moon is the flashpoint. But all you do for the flashpoint is just play some story missions or, like, do some activities. That's it. I guess for here, yeah, you do weekly bounties here. So it's like, it'd be better if the flashpoint was, hey, the planet, all enemies on the planet have, I don't know, 10% increased move speed, 5% increased damage, they drop grenades when they die, I don't know, they're all Vex are enraged all the time, like, something just to change up the gameplay, and then you give them a reason to come back, which would be grinding for gear. And right now, the main grind for gear is either masterworking all your gear, or getting the right stats. Because they'll always have the mods. Well, the mod thing is another problem, the seasonal mod thing. But You grind for the stats. Like right now, I want a helmet with intellect, not with strength, for my like PvE build, because I have my intellect up to 81. But yeah, that should be on instead of that. But even then, like I don't even really use much exotic. Like there isn't a proper way to get high stat rolled pieces the way you want them. And I know that would kind of defeat the grind, but we need a certain way to at least have an idea of how to grind for them. We don't mind the grind as long as we know, hey, at some point I'm gonna get an intellect rolled helmet by doing this activity at this difficulty or at this week or whatever. But that's either the grind, masterworking your shit, or getting the stats. So if we have a flashpoint, say on Titan, because I love the way Titan looks and everything, and the rain and all, but there's nothing ever to do on Titan. It'd be cool if, hey, this week, Titan, the Hive are, I don't know, the Knights are all way more aggressive, and Wizards, I don't know, explode when they die, or some shit. And then the loot thing is, hey, for this week, helmets drop with increased intellect. Drop with at least 70 intellect. I mean, 60 intellect. You're like, oh shit, okay, cool. I'm gonna grind for helmets here. And that'd be a reason for everyone to just be on Titan, just doing public events or whatever. And then that leads into the other thing of, what's an activity that everyone would like to do? And I say you have it right here, patrols. Everyone always loved doing patrols. Everyone still loves doing patrols. Corridor Oryx is still one of the best things. Blind Well, Escalation Protocol. Even in Destiny 1 where you had well, it wasn't an event, but there was this one part in Russia, in the Earth Patrol on Destiny 1 where the Fallen and I believe the Hive would go. It would say like the enemies are moving against each other, and there would be a giant ass battle with multiple bosses and stuff. And that was cool. That was fun. You would see people show up for the fight, do the fight, win, lose, whatever, and then everyone would just leave. And after 5 minutes, when the event popped up again, or when like the app told you, or the site or whatever, everyone would come back, and I would see the same names coming back just to engage in the fight. The loot cave, patrol is the answer to me. What you guys need to do, what Bungie needs to do, sorry, is kind of do an overhaul of how events work and everything in patrol. Because events are nice, they're shown to us and everything, but maybe another difficulty of events, maybe more events being added, maybe things to do in between events that need multiple people. Just kind of taking a look at patrols and making them more interactive and dynamic and really making them a core part of the game again. And also the loot. Every NPC at every planet has their own loot. Where the hell is she? Oh yeah, in here. Every NPC has their own loot.
My friend, what can I do for you?
Right? Like they have their own gear sets and stuff, and even their own weapons. Like instead of everyone's asking for vendor refreshes and stuff, rework all this stuff to have good gear, or make the NPCs relevant again, the vendors relevant again. Give them more bounties than just 3. That's another thing. We should get XP for completing activities, not just the bounties, but for strikes, for Crucible, for Gambit, for patrols, for events, whatever. We should get stuff for it all. I mean XP for it all. And I'm not gonna comment on the weapons and stuff because that's the whole next thing that I'm not gonna go into. But we need to be able to put seasonal the necessary seasonal mods on exotics because they need it. And yeah, I would say that's all we really need for weapons. I don't really see much else of a problem with weapons. And for our gear, we need a way to get the seasonal mod on gear we already have if you're not going to give us a way to grind for it. A proper way to grind for high stat gear. Because if you don't have it, then like 50, 51, like this is all...
Guardian, the Fallen are bringing in their armory. Again. You'd think they'd know better
I
by
got
now.
this because of Twitch Prime. But yeah, this is all... Like, I'll never give up some of this stuff because it's all in intellect, even though they're low stat rolls. It's the only thing I found with high intellect, so I keep it. Even though they don't have the mod slot for this season. Right? Because I can't like it's not like I can upgrade my arms to have this season's mod slot. Like I can't. There's no way to do that. There's no way to kind of re-roll the arms I want to get a different stat roll. There's no way to really grind for the gear you want. It's all just kind of random, especially since it's more customizable and RPG based because of the stats. It's kind of a problem when we can't really grind for stuff we want, or we have no way of grinding for stuff we really want or need. But you know, that's just me. I feel like that's a major problem with the game too right now, is that, you know, people just feel like what's the point if I can't use the shit I worked so hard for. So like there's a lot of exotics I want to use but I don't because I just can't. Or well, I just can't, but it's the legendaries just are better, especially for the activities that need the necessary mods. So it's kind of an issue. That is kind of an issue, and they could fix that pretty easily. Like it's not that hard. They had one where yeah, this is usable on auto rifles and submachine guns. I don't know why you just can't make it so it's usable on everything. Like really, just let people use what they want. I thought that was the whole point. But anyways, so I think that's two or three main problems: replayability and loot, which is loot's tied to Eververse, and replayability is tied to the activity. And I think that could be rectified with Patrol, because Patrol has loot already that's just being neglected. It has a whole series of events that are kind of just there for filler. They're kind of irrelevant now. There's no reason to really do them. Like I feel like this part of the game is what needs to be looked at, because it could really carry the game really far. Because there's no other game that plays like Destiny that can let you do things with randoms in patrol zones, with all these places, with all this art, with all these enemies and stuff. Like I think Patrol is the answer for a lot of people's problems. There's a lot of more issues in this game, but Patrol, we need a way to get more Bright Dust, or at least get more gear from Eververse some way somehow. I won't say anything about Crucible, but you need endgame something, like a way to get Ascendant Shards or whatever, or Prisms or whatever from Crucible. Give us XP for completing things, for completing activities, not just for the bounties. I like the whole rotating thing. I won't talk about Crucible because I like Crucible. I don't like the reliance on special weapons so much. But that's just me. That's just my beef. That's from a old Halo guy, Tribes guy, Doom, Unreal, Quake, you know, whatever. But yeah, Patrols, Eververse. Yeah. And let us hold more bounties at least. Like I think like this is the main way you get XP, by turning in bounties. I think that's the only way of getting XP, because when you complete activities, I don't think you even get XP. I don't think I've ever seen myself get XP for completing an activity. I beat the raid, I got like no XP for it, which is really dumb. Which is really dumb. But anyways, like, I haven't even finished this because I don't even care to. Like, I don't know. And even the chalice was the best thing for grinding gear you wanted. Like, it's here. It's just not relevant anymore, so no one uses it or cares for it. Oh, I have enough to even do this. So, I don't know. That's the thing. I just wish they would take a look back at Menagerie, make it relevant again, or make something just like Menagerie, but with all the enemies. Take a look back at patrols and kind of overhaul that. And maybe not overhaul, but make it relevant again. Make it purposeful. Make it worthwhile. Chill out on the Eververse because you're putting way too much work into that. And yeah, and bring an endgame thing to PvP because it needs it. And maybe make an endgame thing to Gambit. And if you're gonna make an endgame thing to Gambit, make it Gambit Prime. Or just have Gambit Prime out and have normal and heroic Gambit Prime or something. Or shit, not even if you're playing Gambit Prime and you guys maybe there's a secret way to buff the boss or spawn a secret new boss or something, and then that makes it that gives you like better rewards or a chance at an exotic or something. But yeah, just every pinnacle activity, so to speak, should give you pinnacle rewards, and not everything has pinnacle rewards or activities. Right now, it's just Nightfalls, pretty much. It's just the ordeal. And yeah, raids and the dungeons, but those get kind of old because nothing really changes. The raids kind of, actually no, I don't even know if the new raids change. It's just the Leviathan raids that change with the heroic difficulty and whatnot. But I haven't done those in a long time, so I don't even remember. But anyways, that's just me. That's just all my opinion. Uh, yeah, if you even listened this long, thank you. But this game is kind of in a not a dire state, but it has some very glaring issues now. I'm not a huge fan of some of these things. I'm really not. Let's see. Did my helmet give me intellect? Gave me discipline. And it's 46. Jesus Christ. And why did these get turned to 0? What's like anyways. Whatever. I could go on and on, but no. It's still a good game, but it has some serious issues now. Much more than before. Which is kind of a problem. But anyways. So take it easy. Thank you. And yeah. Take care.